Even though everything is displayed correctly in the live server, if we're going to try to run this with the browser, so first of all, let me open up the browser window. And of course, it has to be massive right away. And let's say that we're going to look for our file, which in our case is going to be index.html. Notice that we're not going to see the image. So we're getting this alternative text. Now, the reason for that, because file system is giving you a lot of hustle because of this forward slash. Now, I know we haven't covered yet the comments in HTML, and we're going to do that in a few videos. But let me just, first of all, copy and paste this two more times. And let me just show you what other options you have for getting the image. Now, first and foremost, as you can see, I actually made a mess a little bit because I didn't want four of them here. Let's start with a simple one. Now, alternatively, we could just write like this without a forward slash. And once we save it, notice in the live server, everything is going to be displayed correctly, as well as in the file system. So if I'm going to refresh it, check this out. So now we have a nice image. And also we have another option. So let me copy and paste this line and let's comment out the previous one. We have an option of having the dot and then the forward slash. And again, this is going to do the same thing where I can save it. Everything is going to be displayed correctly on a live server, as well as going to work in the browser because as you can see, once I refresh, there's no errors, or in our case, just there's no alternative text. Now, your question probably would be, well, if we can use this guy, why are we using these forward slashes and these dots? And the reason for that is even though I don't like to throw a lot of things in the beginning, eventually the more web development you do, and as you're going to start progressing with Node or PHP, or let's say, I don't know, React, you're going to see a lot of these relative paths where you have dot and then you have forward slash. So that would mean that this is in the same directory, or you're going to see two dots, which would mean that this would be in the actual folder, maybe outside the directory. And the point of this is for you to get used to this syntax. So later on, once you see it, you're not like a deer in a headlight, you know, okay, so this means that this would be in the same directory. And then two dots are going to mean that if it's outside the directory. Now we're going to cover two dots later on as we're working with CSS, because a lot of times CSS is not going to be in the same folder as index.html. So I'm not going to cover that right now. Just please remember that if you would like to open up in a file system, you can use one of these two options and it's going to be displayed correctly. However, throughout my projects, I will going to use this dot syntax because I think it's going to make a lot of sense in the long run. So you are very used to the syntax once you progress to that stage.